Hello, welcome back to Am I the Red Flag? This is a segment where I read family and relationship stories from the AITA subreddit, and I react to them by braving my social anxiety and running through a public park with a gigantic red flag. So if that's your thing, gently press the button. Come watch a 32-year-old man embarrass himself for your entertainment. Alright, am I the red flag for telling my husband I see him more as a liability and not a partner? I, 34 female, have been with my husband, 37 male, we'll call him Nathan, for 8 years. Ever since our daughter, 3 female, was born, I have been unable to trust Nathan with anything, no matter how small. Background context. When I was 19, a semi-truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and turned my car into scrap metal, with me inside it. I have enough metal holding me together that I light up a Christmas tree for TSA, and I'm physically impaired on good days and bad days. I used a portion of my settlement check to buy a house outright and have it retrofitted to accommodate my needs, as I'll eventually require a wheelchair. I work in software development as it's fun, and nobody cares if I work from bed on bad days. My husband has not worked in 5 years. Which has been fine until our daughter was born. Between the settlement money, a paid-off house, and my salary, I enjoyed having him here with me. He contributed by handling most of the domestics. We pay for a weekly cleaner with monthly deep cleaning because it gives us more time together. Ever since our daughter was born, it was like a light switch turned off in his head. Okay. Here we go. Don't ask why I'm pulling up my pants. I don't know. Maybe my subconscious thinks that I'll need more hip support when I start gyrating in anger. For our daughter, he would buy the wrong size diapers, not fully mixed bottles, put diapers on backwards, leave out poop-covered wipes, forget to latch cabinets. This past week, he has gone to the store 3 times because he keeps coming home with the wrong size socks and shoes for her. I eventually just ordered the right ones on Amazon.
Did you sell your brain on Marketplace, fella?
For me, he has tried to help me with my weekly pill organizer fill-up and several times has spilled the contents of new medications all over the floor. Then, not seeing that he didn't get all of them off the floor. He has repeatedly bought me grapefruit juice to take my medications with, a huge no. He has repeatedly forgotten that I can't have dairy and puts milk in my coffee, or cheese on a burger. He has broken so many things of mine from being careless. He shattered my laptop because it slipped out of his hand when he tried to pack it up for a trip, even after I said I would pack my own electronics.
He is more out of sorts than a screen door in a submarine.
We've lost so many spoons and forks to the disposal. He tried to replace the head gasket in my car and over-torqued the engine bolt, which shattered inside the block in 2 different shops, said they couldn't repair it. We ended up getting a new vehicle because a replacement engine would have cost $11,000. A week later, he crashed the new car into the garage because he thought he'd pressed the brakes, not the accelerator.
His elevator's stuck between floors. His gears are turning, but nothing's grinding.
He wanted to do TikToks and streaming as a hobby. I supported him initially, but I quickly noticed a pattern. Anything regarding our daughter or me, he was sloppy and careless. He never whoopsed his own stuff. He would build entire sets to stream or make videos with in the garage and leave his brain in the garage. Yeah, you know that streaming setup is immaculate. It looks like a NASA mission control room. He could have a Martian DoorDash him a po' boy with its mind on this thing. It came to a head 4 nights ago. He streamed himself building a new set piece, 9 hours straight. Meanwhile, I worked, clocked out early to pick up our daughter from summer camp, cooked and fed for both of us, got her ready for bed, and he came out to help and put her to bed. I let him know that I needed to get some work done and would be in my office, and I asked him to take the trash out. He said he would. 2 hours later, I left my office and the house felt really warm. He had taken the trash out, but left our front door partially open, and was back in the garage with his game volume really loud. I panicked since our daughter was able to get out of bed, and thankfully she was sound asleep. But she could have easily toddled right out of the house and he wouldn't have noticed. Then I noticed a stovetop burner was on. Jesus, dude. With a small pot on it with nothing inside. I didn't use the stove for cooking that night.
Hey guy.
I popped my head into the garage and said, "Hey, I need you for a minute." I informed him of the door situation and he responded, "I thought I locked it." We checked the camera and no, he did not. I asked about the burner being on and he said he was planning to make ramen and forgot. He pulled the still hot pot off the burner and put it straight into the sink on top of our daughter's favorite plastic plate. which is now ruined. I'll admit, I overreacted and screamed, "What are you doing?" He realized what he'd done and he pulled the pot off our daughter's plate and straight onto the countertop. I grabbed it quickly and ran it under water to cool it down. Okay, has he taken a special interest in belts lately? Or like when you go into the garage to take his bowl back to the dishwasher, is the spoon hotter and dirtier than it should be? Or when you notice the track marks on his arm and you call him out on it, he just says does he just say they're spider bites? I think I'm being very clear in what I'm asking here. I told him I couldn't deal with him tonight. I told him I was taking my meds and going to sleep. He got a cup from the cupboard and set it straight onto the burner that had been on. I hit my limit. I started crying. He kept saying that it was fine. Things happen. It's just an accident. He's had a rough day from streaming. He's just tired. Why am I crying? It's just a cup. We can replace it. The anger hit and I said, it's because I have a liability and not a partner. He said, "What the fuck does that mean?" I screamed that it's because I can't trust him to do anything, that I'm always having to watch him like a child, always having to bear the cost of his mistakes, that every time I get careless and think I can trust him to be an adult, I'm always the one getting fucked over. I then said, "I can't see you as a partner anymore. You're just another liability in my checkbook." He immediately stormed out of the kitchen and went to bed. I called my mom and told her what had happened. She thinks it's just stress and offered to take our daughter for a week so we would figure this out with our daughter seeing it. She says it was an asshole thing to call my husband a liability. Huh? Isn't the daughter 3? So he's just been stressed for 3 years about what? About not getting his TikTok live stream key to work? In the morning, I told my husband that my mom would pick up our daughter from summer camp and offered to watch her for a week. He said, okay, and that's the only interaction we've had since. He spends all day in the garage playing games with his friends, making TikToks and streaming. For food, he's been ordering DoorDash and having the person deliver it in the garage. DoorDash, are we sure it's a person delivering it? Check the receipt. What is the name on there? E.T.? It's been days and he refuses to be in the same room as me. I've tried messaging him to ask if we can talk or figure out a solution, but he's just left me on red. If I pop into the garage, he ignores me but apologizes to his friends or viewers for the interruption and will unmute his mic when the noise stops. Before the blow up, I've asked if there was something going on. I tried to gently respond every time he screwed up so our daughter didn't associate mistake to anger. I asked him to schedule a doctor to see if something was going wrong medically. He always said I was overreacting, people make mistakes, and didn't see an issue, even when the same mistakes kept happening. When I tried to get him to understand that it was concerning just how expensive his mistakes were getting, he'd wave it off as it's not like we can't afford it. Oh, okay. Don't include we in that sentence, fella. Oh, you don't get enough TikTok Rose donations to be able to say we. I love him dearly. I just miss the person he was before we had a child. The one I could trust and rely on. Did I screw this up forever? Was I being too harsh on his mistakes? Am I missing something? Am I the red flag? Jokes aside, a part of me is empathetic to stuff like this. If this is a case of substance abuse. Last year, I completely quit smoking the silly plant because I was abusing it every single day for 3 years. All day, every day, I was smoking the silly plant. And it was primarily because I was a small business owner during COVID and I lost everything and I didn't know how to handle it. And I was really battling very terrible depression. But I got off of it because I was really starting to notice a worrisome cognitive decline. When I got off of it, I developed what my psychiatrist believes was post-acute withdrawal syndrome, which is basically like massive brain fog. For months after quitting, I couldn't remember what was said 2 minutes prior. I was very easily irritated. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't sleep. I basically drove my girlfriend nuts. It was bad. And I felt a lot of guilt about it. I felt terrible. And I just didn't feel like myself. I could tell I wasn't myself before I stopped and after. So if something like that is going on with him and he's battling some inner demons, that I get. And I feel a little bit of empathy for. But the lack of remorse and the childlike attitude, that I don't have empathy for. And in fact, that actually makes me think he's doing something far worse. I think he's doing some hard stuff. So I'm going to say you are not the red flag here, and he needs help. Am I the red flag for telling my fiance that he embarrassed me when he started singing the happy birthday song to his 5-year-old son at the restaurant? I, female 30, have been with my fiance, Ned, male 36, for a year and a half. He has a 5-year-old son with his ex-girlfriend. They don't have a custody arrangement, but he has him most of the week because the mom is currently sick. His son is lovely, but I noticed that Ned takes him everywhere he goes. What? Including places that aren't child-friendly. And we have an issue with that now, but we're working on it. Yeah, he takes him everywhere. The mom is sick. What's the alternative? Put him in a terrarium? He's not a salamander. I'm gonna shut up. His son's 5th birthday was days ago. Ned took us out to a restaurant to celebrate. The place was nice and looked a bit unfitting for the occasion because it was a somewhat expensive place. Anyways, we ordered food. Then he got the birthday cake, which was a surprise to me because I thought we were going to celebrate at home, so we could be free to sing and play however we wanted. I still had no issue with that till Ned started singing the happy birthday song to his son. I was so stunned I almost dropped my plate. Oh my God, I'm trying to give you a chance. He was singing it at the top of his lungs, not even looking around or paying attention to how many people were staring at us awkwardly. I felt so embarrassed I kept whispering for him to stop, but he ignored me. Of course, my future stepson was hyped and a little too active, which isn't good when we're at a public place. I expected the staff, the manager, anyone to get involved and stop him, but no one did. In fact, some woman came up to us and offered that she help him take a video recording. I wasn't in it at all. I froze in my seat, looking stunned and a little angry.
Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you!
He looked at me later, asking what was wrong. I didn't say anything except, thanks for finally noticing. He didn't understand what I meant, and I didn't explain till we were in the car. I flat out told him that he embarrassed me the second he started singing in the restaurant. He looked shocked, saying he didn't get why I would be embarrassed by him celebrating his son's birthday and cheering him up. I told him we could have done this at home when we'd be more comfortable and free. He took it as if I was ashamed of him and his son, but I denied it and said that it just felt awkward and embarrassing. Maybe because I've never been in this situation and also judging from the restaurant we were at.
Happy birthday to the child! Happy birthday to you!
He said that his son's mom is sick and he's trying to do all he can to cheer him up and that all families do that. And no one had an issue with that except me. Then when I tried to explain, he got mad and said he no longer felt like talking. We haven't been speaking since then. It appears he's still salty about me saying what I said and insinuating that I see him and his son as an embarrassment. Am I the red flag? I think he's being too harsh with the whole ignoring me thing instead of talking it out. Okay, I think I know how to fix your problem. What you want to do is really get your bowels moving, okay? Make yourself an entire pot of beans. Eat the whole thing, okay? Just really house some Hormel. Wait a little bit. If that doesn't work, go to the store. Get yourself some laxative. Come back home. Take the laxative. Make yourself another half a pot of beans. Wait a little bit. And that should flush out the bug that is up your butt. Seriously, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I'll let my audience handle this and tell you how wrong this is and why it's wrong. You're the red flag. Okay, real quick though, before we get into the next story.
I have new merch!
There's a honey roasted tea now. I honey roast people in a lot of my short content, and if you don't know what that is,
It's where you roast somebody, but it's a compliment!
and there's several other designs, like this one. So if you want to support the channel, merch is the best way to do that.
Now back to the program!
Am I the red flag for hooking up with a married woman and causing her divorce? Okay, I retire. No, I don't. I don't have enough money. Here we go. I, 21 male, have been hooking up with a woman, 32 female, for about 6 months. It started as something casual. We met through a mutual friend at a party, hit it off, and things escalated from there. I knew she was married, but she told me that she was in an unhappy marriage and was planning to leave her husband. She made it sound like the divorce was already a done deal, so I didn't feel too guilty about it.
Oh, I'm gonna pass away in this public park. Somebody playing disc golf will find me, and it'll be Reddit's fault.
But you felt a little guilty. Okay. We continued seeing each other, mostly late at night or during the times she said her husband was out of town. I'll admit, it was exciting at first. I was young, she was older, and it felt like something out of a movie. But things started getting serious when she began texting me constantly and wanting to spend more time together. She would vent about how terrible her husband was and how she couldn't wait to be free from him. A few weeks ago, her husband found out about us. She was devastated and immediately filed for divorce. She called me in tears, blaming me for everything. She said that if it weren't for me, her husband wouldn't have left her and that now she has nowhere to go and nothing to her name. She even suggested that I should take responsibility and help her out since I ruined her life.
2 red flag folks in one video!
She has 2 kids, a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. She claims that her husband is going to fight for full custody and that it's all my fault that her kids might end up living with him instead of her. She says that because of me, her life is falling apart and her children might grow up without their mother around. I feel bad about this situation, but I also think it's unfair for her to put all the blame on me. I never forced her to cheat, and I wasn't the one who filed for divorce. I'm also not in a position to support her financially or emotionally. I'm still trying to figure out my own life. So am I the red flag for hooking up with a married woman and causing her divorce, knowing she has kids? Okay, here's what I think is happening underneath the emotional hood here, and my audience can let me know if they think I'm right or not. The wife love-bombed you because there's trouble going on at home, and she needed somebody to take away the pain as quickly as possible, which was a boy toy, which was you. She also needed somebody to vent to, and she's not gonna go to therapy for that because she's a narcissist, and narcissists don't do that because therapy requires accountability, and she's not capable of doing that. Clearly. She also didn't want to leave her husband. He wanted to leave her, and she knew that. So she was desperately looking for a branch to grab onto before she hit the ground. You are that branch. She also has the emotional intelligence of a Geico caveman, so she doesn't know how to deal with negative feelings or emotions, so she just makes them stick onto somebody else. And here's the golden rule. If they constantly talk about their ex, even if it's in a negative way, they're not over them or they're not separated. Now you, on the other hand, are a steaming bag of shit, because you knowingly had an affair with somebody who is still married and also has children. No matter how many times you try to rationalize it or in how many different ways you try to rationalize it, that's the fact. You had an affair because you're a dumb college kid and you think life is one long screening of American Pie. But it's not. It's reality. And the reality is you screwed up a father and his 2 children for the rest of their lives. But you're just a young dummy. You can learn from this at some point. She can't. She is older and she's a narcissist. Narcissists don't learn. They forget. So I think she's way worse. Nevertheless, you're both red flags. Am I the red flag for assuming my daughter could have a 3rd plate? Yesterday, my sister hosted a family dinner at her house. It was one of those just because dinners, no special occasion. My sister is a great cook and she made tons of food for that one night. My daughter was on her 2nd plate by the end of the night. Once she finished, she asked if she could get another one. I said yes, but my sister, her aunt, looked at her with a shocked expression and said, "Another plate?" My daughter turned around and gave a somewhat uncomfortable look. My daughter is 16 and has 2 part-time jobs to pay for some of her college tuition, so she usually doesn't eat until 7 or 8 p.m. So I didn't even blink twice when she got up to grab her 3rd plate. I turned to my sister and said, "She's been working all day without anything to eat. You made tons of food. It won't hurt for her to get another plate." My sister started yelling, saying something about how it wasn't my place to say if my daughter could get more of her food that she made. Now I do somewhat agree with that, and might be the red flag because of that. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe I should have asked. My daughter ended up not getting another plate, and the vibe was awkward now, so we just decided to go. Before we left, out the door, my sister stopped me and told me I should have taught my daughter manners and how it isn't right to get more than 1 plate at someone else's house. Okay, we've got to hold on for more information on this one. Red flag guy, please stand by.
Damn it.
I told my sister she was being ridiculous, and somehow our voices got loud enough where my mom started to hear us in the small corner. She came over and started telling me that she agreed with my sister and it was rude for my daughter to eat that many plates. I started to get fed up when they began telling me I wasn't teaching her proper manners, so I left. Then, of course, they began texting my phone saying how it was rude to leave in the middle of our conversation. I mean, y'all just beating a dead horse over and over. Like, how many times do you have to say the same thing? I don't think I was the red flag at all for leaving because I wasn't going to stay in a place where I felt disrespected, but I'm not sure about the plate thing. So am I the red flag for assuming my daughter could get another plate? This one is interesting because I was just reading some of the comments underneath this post and I discovered 2 very critical details for this story because the original poster was commenting and replying to people. Number one, everyone else already had second plates. And number two, everyone had already finished eating by then.
Oh, sweet mother of Susan B. Anthony!
So this begs the question, why did the sister say it was rude to get more than one plate? Here's what I think. I don't think the sister was concerned about her being rude. I think she was concerned about her being chubby.
Fat shaming, you quick!
Now, as we know, in big family settings like this, there are certain gender expectations for what we put on our plates. The girls are supposed to eat like pigeons, and the boys are supposed to eat like Bissell vacuums, just take everything, you know? This is especially true in the South, where I'm from. Me personally, I've always been very skinny my entire life, and I've always had a very small stomach, and you know, that doesn't sit well with a lot of members in my family, and they constantly have to say things about, you know, how much I'm eating and my physical appearance. It doesn't matter how many plates. 17 plates, I could have 17. It wouldn't matter. Still getting comments about how I should eat more. And admittedly, I'm a little sensitive about that. So I sniff stuff out like this pretty easily. I think the sister had a knee-jerk reaction when she saw her niece getting a third plate, and that expectation of eating like a pigeon came into play, and then she got called out on it and got defensive and angry. The mom picked the sister's side because she's just as dramatic as she is. Apple didn't fall far from the tree. I see where the original poster is coming from in the sense of not knowing whether it was right or not to not ask before getting a third plate, but the details from the comments nullifies that in my book. And this person's daughter is family. Like, why are they pitching such a fit about food? Well, it's because the sister is trying to cover her butt and use this fake meltdown as a distraction for what she actually meant by her original comment. So, in my mind, you are not the red flag.
But you are my sister in Christ!
Speaking of meltdown, this nice guy had a meltdown like you have never seen in your life. This Reddit post details a story of a man who essentially stalked a married coworker for several years, and when he didn't get what he wanted in the end, it got terrifying. Very, very terrifying. Hands down, the creepiest and scariest thing that I've ever covered on my channel. So click in the top box in the left-hand corner, and I'll see you over there. All right, that's my time. Toodles.